Welcome back to What is Sport. And now wrestling again.
Hi everybody, it's Red Hill Eagle here. Welcome back to the channel. This is the start of a brand new series. Of course, it's TEW2020 and we are doing a World of Sport Wrestling relaunch. So it's a British company. It was originally World of Sport. It was a program on ITV that hosted all kinds of sports, news and clips and all that sort of thing. But they had a wrestling segment. The show went off air probably about 20 years ago now, but they stopped the wrestling in about 1988 or something, late 80s. They tried to revive it about 7 or 8 years ago, semi-successful, I guess. They had a special, a relaunch with JR was actually one of the commentators. Got some big names. I think Stu Barrett was involved at one point, or Wade Barrett, if I remember rightly. But it didn't last. They had one TV series, I think, and a bit of touring, but it kind of faded. So I'm going to go again. It's a save. I've always wanted to do a serious, try. I've given it a go before, but I really want to give it a serious try. I'm doing a much bigger database. I'm using the Who's database, which has just got so many wrestlers on it, so many workers. I think I can give it a better go, because other mods, you don't really get that many UK workers, so I struggled a little bit. But hopefully with this one, the only downfall of this mod is that the stats aren't always, they're not particularly generous, let's put it that way. But we'll get there, we'll get through it, and we'll see what we can do. I just wanted to sort of point a few things out here before we go to the first show, the actual relaunch. I'm playing as Doug Williams, who is our user character. He has been tasked with taking the reins of World of Sport Wrestling and making it a success. He's negotiated away from ITV, so they are no longer the property of ITV. It would have just been unrealistic game-wise for World of Sport to be on ITV. We just never would have got up to the standards, the ratings that would have been needed. So maybe from a realistic point of view, it would still be an ITV property, but it just wouldn't have worked. So we've negotiated away from that. We have a Facebook deal. So our TV and events will be on Facebook for the time being. I gave myself, what I did, I rolled a few dice and I had a couple of little, I rolled a D10 to get how many millions I had, and then I rolled a D100 to see the percentage of that millions I would put into the company, and it came out at about 1.6 million that I'd put into the company. So there's a little bit more than that now, because I've played for a month or two, and obviously we've probably made some merchandise money, merchandise sponsorship, all that sort of thing. So that's why it's a little bit over 1.6 million now. I think we should just crack on with the very first show. I won't show you anything yet. I'm actually using everyone on the first show. We've got a few pre-show matches. Let's just get on with it, shall we? So we are live from the Fairfield Halls in Croydon, South London, in front of 1,127 people, and we are on Facebook. I don't know what they call it. Is it Facebook Live or Facebook On Demand? Whatever. This is a pre-show match, though. This won't be on Facebook, and it's a 35 rating. It's just a tag team match. Chris Renfrew teams up with Grado to take on Dave Mastiff and Mickey Whiplash. Yes, our biggest, potentially or arguably our biggest star, Grado, is on the pre-show. There's a reason for that. We'll get there. And yeah, so basically, subpar wrestling, non-existent crowd heat. Renfrew and Grado got the win in 9 minutes 54 when Renfrew pinned Whiplash with a stone cold stoner. Okay, so I'm not going to go through everything here on gimmicks and stuff, because it's going to be a lot with the first show. So let's just scroll down and see if there's any sort of penalties and stuff. Okay, well, yeah, road agents is going to be a problem in this save based on people's stats. And then a 6-man tag. I just did a couple of tag matches to get everyone on the card. So we've got 2 pre-show matches. This one is Crater, Joel Redman and Mark Haskins teaming up, and they will face Martin Kirby, Styx and Tyson T-Bone. Now, Crater was known as Crater in the relaunch 7 or 8 years ago. He's also known as a couple of other names. I think there was Toxic and Cyanide. I'm half thinking about making him one of those two, just to make it different from the original relaunch. I don't know. But this is pre-show, so we can do that without the fans being confused. But anyway, where are we? Crater, Redman and Haskins got the win in 12 minutes 3 seconds when Crater pinned Martin Kirby. Mark Haskins was head and shoulders above the rest. Yeah, I've got plans for him. I've got plans for him. We'll see. Again, lots of gimmick changes and stuff there. A quick look down, a lot of them are great and adequate. Okay, Alex Shane, again, the only penalty is a road agent penalty. The show kicks off on Facebook with it's a taped segment really. We've got Red Lightning as a podcaster, so he has his own podcast. Maybe it's the World of Sport podcast, maybe it's his own podcast. I don't know. This particular clip, he's on someone else's podcast and talking about the World of Sport revival. Yes, World of Sport's coming back. It's going to be live on Facebook. Blah 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 blah. We're all looking forward to it. It's going to be great. There's a few differences. Every match is a 15-minute time limit. So if there's 15 minutes and no one's got the upper hand, the match is a draw. Sorry, but that's it. 15 minutes. I wanted to introduce that, A, to do something a little bit different, and B, I think that's quite a British thing to do. Introduce the old time limit. I mean, I think if I remember rightly, back in like the 70s and 80s, when British wrestling was arguably at its heyday, they had rounds like boxing. So yeah, 15-minute time limit. All matches will be there. Will be that. Poor though, a poor segment start. I'm in an in between him and someone else to do the opening. If it was someone else, it wouldn't have been a podcast opening, but it would have been something different. But yeah, 11. That's really bad. Maybe I should have gone with this then. Doug Williams, the company owner, gets a 39 rating when he welcomes the fans to the arena and everyone watching on Facebook. And he announces the World Title Tournament. So tonight there is an 8-man tournament for the World of Sport Wrestling World Championship. And we kick off with a quarter-final of that tournament, 35 rating. James Drake taking on Roy Knight. Decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. But Drake got the win in 7 minutes 23 by pinfall with a surprise roll-up. So he came up quietly. Roy Knight was maybe, I don't know, trying to entertain the fans, whatever. And James Drake came up behind him, dragged him down, rolled him up, pinned him, 1, 2, 3. Roy Knight was absolutely furious after that. How dare you sneak up on me? That's cowardly. How can you do something like that? You can't face me, face to face like a man. You have to cheat. Obviously, he hasn't cheated, but Roy Knight, being the heel, has said, you have to cheat and come up behind me and just I didn't even know about it. Would you shoot a man from behind? That kind of thing. Really annoyed about it. But it's James Drake that gets through to the semi-finals. Greg Burridge takes on Lewis Gervin in another quarter-final for the tournament. 25 rating, terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat, but Burridge got the win in 8 minutes 25 by pinfall. I'm not going to go through every match and the finishes because they don't all have an impact on future sort of storytelling. But this one puts Greg Burridge into the semi-finals. We then got an angle with Joanna Rose. She is one of our interviewers, and she interviews Grado, who was, as I say, the star of the original relaunch. And he's talking about, I just missed out my application for the title tournament, so I'm missing out this time round. But, I'll be here. I'll be in the company. I'll be chasing that belt. Whoever wins it tonight, they better watch their back because I'll be coming for that gold. Dave Mastiff comes out and interrupts, and he says, last time round you might have been the star, but I remember beating you in the original world title match in the revival, and I'll do it again. If you're going to chase that belt, I'll be chasing it too, and if it happens to be you that gets it, then it'll be you that's in the firing line from me. So we are going to revive that rivalry between Grado and Dave Mastiff. Yeah, rating at 26. Joseph Connors takes on Wild Boar in a quarter-final. Subpar wrestling, non-existent crowd heat. It's Joseph Connors that gets the win in 6 minutes 42 by pinfall with a don't look down. I wonder what... I'd like to see that move. Rating of 35, Joseph Connors is in the semis. Joe Hendry taking on Yeston Reese. And it's a terrible match. Joe Hendry gets the win, though, in 7 minutes 18 by countout. Just wanted to do something a bit different. I think all of these have been clean pinfalls at the moment. It's another quarter-final. It puts Joe Hendry into the semis. 27, though, is better than the previous match. Yeah, it said terrible. Okay. But as I say, yeah, it just puts Joe Hendry into the semi-finals. Next up, we've got Adam Blampide and Catherine Miller. Rating of 15. Yeah, we're going to have to do a lot to get these angles up. As I say, the stats on this mod aren't brilliant, but in terms of the amount of workers you get, it just makes sense to do it with this mod. These guys are our kind of news anchors or our pair backstage. They will kind of always work together. It's a social media check-in, so they're checking all the, they're checking their phones and tablets and checking all the social media sites and what people are saying about the show so far. They mention a few names, Joe Hendry, Greg Burridge. People are looking forward to seeing Grado and Mastiff, revive their rivalry. We've liked the look of Joe Hendry and Greg Burridge so far. There's all kinds of different tweets and posts and threads that they're talking about. They also go over some tweets during the week leading up to this event between Nathan Cruz and Super Santos Jr., where there was a challenge for £5,000. They've each put £2,500 into a pot, and they will face off tonight, next in fact, and the winner will receive £5,000. And here we go, it's Nathan Cruz and Super Santos Jr., but it ends in 7 minutes 37 with a double count out, and that is because Super Santos seems to have had enough. He gets out of the ring, he grabs the bag of money from the table, and he just walks off, and Nathan Cruz obviously gets out of the ring himself and starts chasing him. You can't just steal the money, you've got to win, you've got to beat me if you want the money. So we're obviously kicking off a storyline here, and Super Santos Jr. stealing the £5,000 rather than winning it 1-2-3 in the ring. Rating of 31. Semi-final time. Greg Burridge takes on James Drake. 39 rated match isn't too bad. Decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. I get the impression it's going to be one or the other, isn't it? It's always going to be, decent wrestling and no reaction, or a decent reaction and subpar wrestling. But by the by, James Drake wins in 8 minutes 45 by submission, getting himself into the final. And then the other semi-final gets a 32. A poor match. Joe Hendry gets the win, though, over Joseph Connors in 8 minutes 46 by pinfall with a freak of nature. This was the other semi-final, so we now have our finalists. The final to determine our first world champion. Well, we now know it will be between James Drake and Joe Hendry. But before that, we've got some tag team action where Jim Hunter and Lee Hunter. We don't have any official tag teams, but these guys, sort of being brothers, makes sense to sort of put them together. They won't always wrestle in tag team matches, I guess. They'll probably have singles careers as well until we get a bigger roster and we're a bigger company. That'll probably be the same with everyone, really. They'll probably have some kind of tag team that they're with, but will be singles wrestlers as well. But this one, they take on BT Gunn and Jimmy Havoc. This was another one that was sort of arranged during the week over social media and other means rather than sort of on the show, just to get a tag team match on the card. Really, if we're completely honest, subpar wrestling, non-existent crowd heat. Jim Hunter and Lee Hunter defeated BT Gunn and Jimmy Havoc in 8 minutes 10 when Jim Hunter pinned BT Gunn. Yeah, as I say, this was just to get a tag team match on the card. Rating of 34 overall. Post-match, the Hunters are approached by Joel Redman and Mark Haskins, and they're just saying, look, you're pretty much the only tag team in this company. That's not good enough, is it? How about we challenge you on a future date for a match to determine World of Sport Wrestling's first tag team champions? And yes, that is accepted. Rating of 23. We've then got John Robertson interviewing Joe Hendry and Susie Kennedy interviewing James Drake. Pre-world title match, pre-tournament final. So yeah, it's just cutting their promos. I sometimes do this, especially with events, because you don't get so much angle time, and I'll squeeze two angles into one. So yeah, it's just Joe Hendry and James Drake putting across why they think they're going to win this match and become the first champion. Rating of 26. So the match itself, well, towards the end, James Drake is on top. He has got Joe Hendry beaten. He's about to go down and pin him, and he gets distracted by Roy Knight. And it's just towards the end of the match, and that takes it over 15 minutes. So we get a time limit expiry. This match has gone to a time limit. We do not have a winner. The title hangs in the balance. Overall rating of 35, which decent match, pleased with that, and I just thought, let's do something different. Everyone's expecting us to crown a champion. I did a tournament. I don't normally do tournament. I normally do something different. As those of you who've seen my channel before may know, that I normally try to build a story around a gauntlet match. Well, I thought, let's go for the basic tournament. But then I thought, hang on, how about we do something a little bit different? We don't crown a champion. We've got a time limit expiry. There is no champion. So then Radzi Chinyaganya, I really apologise if I've butchered that name. This guy was involved in NXT UK, I believe, but also he does a lot of sort of UK children's and family sort of shows as a presenter. So yeah, he's the last guy now that we've used. Everyone, we've used every single one of our roster, apart from obviously road agents and that sort of thing. And I'm pretty sure every referee was used, but I can't guarantee that. I didn't really look. But in a rating of 24, he comes out and he says, I've just heard word that the World of Sport Wrestling Committee will make a decision about the title during the week, and we'll all find out what happens when we launch our TV show on Facebook. So yeah, that's it. That's the end of the show. What do we get overall? 31. Lost popularity in 5 regions. We are a small company. We're not insignificant or tiny. I wanted to start off small because I wanted something just a little bit beefier than, the lowest we can get. We've got a little bit of work to do, really, though, haven't we? If we're gonna be getting those sorts of scores and losing popularity, I think we'll get there. As I say, some of the gradings are they're not very generous at all in this mod. And again, I'm not knocking the mod or the mod maker because I wouldn't be able to sit down and do it. But obviously, that is offset by the number of workers you get. We're just going to have to work harder, aren't we, to get people over and that sort of thing. So yeah, rating 31, that is the first event over. It's our relaunch. Let's have a quick look at the main screen then. Okay, so first emails post-show of the game. Finished last out of 4 in the regional battle, which is obviously disappointing. What are our figures? World of Sport relaunch was shown last night. 0.01. Yeah, didn't really expect many. Lack of big names hurt the attendance. I didn't pre-book the show. That could have had an impact. But what I will do, obviously, let's have a quick look at our roster. I suppose now that everyone's sort of in a position, I mean, where are we? Look at this. Oh my God. No, we don't have it. We don't even have any well-known. Yeah, we've got a bit of work to do, guys. We'll do it. We'll get there. We'll get through it. I could be looking at hiring a few. I don't mind hiring a few foreign wrestlers either. It makes sense. This is World of Sport, and I do want to make it. I think certainly the first show, I wanted it to be very UK-esque. But I think now that we've got a TV show launching, in fact, I haven't actually added it into the game yet, but I will do. I don't quite know what I'm going to call it yet. Let me know if you've got any ideas. I normally go for, Unleashed, only because I've already created a logo for it and that sort of thing. And I think it's quite a cool name for a wrestling show, but I always do that. So any other ideas? Let me know. I think that's it, really. That's all I'm going to... Let's see what... I've never had a... Yeah, it does still say vacant and everything. I didn't know whether it was going to sort of just throw up something silly, seeing as I had a draw. Yeah, so that's obviously still vacant. I need to create the tag team title there as well, seeing as we'll be getting that underway, I guess. That's kind of it. Yeah, let me know if you've liked it, and if you have, obviously click that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and give me your ideas. Let me know. This particular series might not appeal to many, maybe some UK fans. Yes, we'll see. But I like to do things a little bit different. I'm certainly planning it a bit differently. Yeah, I do tend to waffle, don't I? So I'm just going to cut it off now, and I'm going to say, take care of yourselves, everybody, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.